stay mental. When DEA stopped my grade rental, incidental. My girl home watching Jay Leno. Prophesize, I pulled the wise. Wood frame.
What's up? I'm Donte from Mood and the legendary Space Invaders. This is Real Spit.
And all I thought about was Beamers. Then came the questionnaire. Rest of me was stepping rare. Asking permission so he could say he kept it fair. Fake mustaches and 100-yard dashes through Lake Molasses because my government's so fascist. Don't choose to ask kids, throw low spots up near Damascus. On all areas.
What up, Donte? You know what I'm saying? I want to thank you. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to politic with me today. You know what I'm saying? Work on this project, you know. Coming up in Cincinnati, you know, working at the radio station, I've had the opportunity to listen to a lot of artists, you know what I'm saying, and the sound that they provided for Cincinnati and the platform that they established here, you know what I'm saying? But no matter like who's around now, you know, even when I first started at the station, you can't move forward without acknowledging, you know what I'm saying, the group Mood. You know what I'm saying? Y'all were very influential, you know what I'm saying, for that initial rise of artists here in Cincinnati. That's why I wanted to talk to you today and get your opinion on like some of the aspects of where music is in Cincinnati now, you know, locally and nationally. And really, I want you to have the opportunity to tell your story, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the group. Now, like, how did y'all first start? You know what I mean?
Well, believe it or not, man, we started, when we first started our rap group, it was just me and Main Flow. And this was like, I guess I would say we was about 15 or 16 years old. We was first getting hip to hip hop. We didn't really know much about it. We just we knew we wanted to rap, right? We didn't know how to make beats. We didn't know how to, we didn't know nothing about the MPC. We didn't know nothing. We just knew we wanted to rap. So how we originally started rapping, and I'm gonna take y'all back to some ancient dinosaur shit right now, but what we did for our first beats when we first started rapping was we used to do what we call pause mixes, right? We would get like tapes of instrumentals or a song of a beat that we like, right? And you remember how you could dub record? Yeah. Like we would dub record the tape over into the next tape and extend the beat. Or, you know, place the beat. It was meticulous as fuck. Right. That's how we had to start, man. So, you know, we started off doing all of that. And me and Main Flow came up with a group called Rhythm Mafia. And actually, we used to dance first. Like, you know, I was in the break-in and, you know, other parts of the art before I decided to become a rapper, man. We used to dance and be in talent shows and stuff like that. But once we got to the rap stage, we started doing our own little production, and we ran into a guy named Gardner, and we started a group called Rhythm Mafia. Okay. That was our very first group that we had, and you know, we was all from Westwood, grew up on the west side. And our very first show, I'll never forget, we did our very first show at the Yucatan Liquor Stand. Oh, the Yucatan. Yeah. We did our very first show at the Yucatan Liquor Stand, and you know, when we did that, man, and how the people reacted, man, we kind of knew we was on to something. So from there, we would go on to get into rap battles. We started rap battling mostly. So like, you know, what we would do is during the school day, we would skip school. I ain't advising no kids to do this, but we would skip school and we would go to other people's high schools and look for the rappers and give them bars, man. Like, you know, it didn't matter. Y'all was savage. Yeah, we was, you know, we was about that life, man. And so we had met Josh Son at a rap and DJ battle in Milford. And then by then, me, Main Flow, and my man Sean Taylor, aka Gemini One, we had started a group called Three Below, but it was 4 of us. I don't remember why we did that, but Josh Son was a producer and a DJ. Sean was a producer and a DJ, and me and Main Flow were MCs. So, you know, we started working, and we called ourselves. After that, we went to Homicide One, which was a negative kind of tone name. So we kind of got away from that, and we wound up settling on Mood maybe about 6 months into that because we wanted to make music that set a mood,
right,
gave people a mentality, made you think, as opposed to just being dancing and partying all the time.
right.
So with whatever, even if we was in the mood to dance or party, we wanted to give ourselves that freedom. But unfortunately, we got boxed in the conscious hip hop. People took it and made it synonymous,
Right.
you know.
But that's not a bad box to be in, you know what I'm saying? Especially, you know what I'm saying, being on the forefront and from Cincinnati, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what it was at the time. You know, there were other national artists and everything that was on conscious rap, and that type of style was pertinent at the time. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We needed that. You know what I'm saying? So we thank you for that. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate the thanks, man, because I feel like it's somewhat that's kind of like somewhat missing from today's hip hop. There's a few artists that do it, but not as many. And I don't think it's as diverse as it probably could be. But, you know, when we grew up, we had groups like KRS-One. Then you could listen to Scarface, or you can listen to NWA, you can listen to Bone, you can listen to Two Live Crew. Everybody that I named had their own sound. Like, and you could tell where they were from,
right,
according to their sound. And now today it's just kind of like I think everything sounds just about alike, man. You know, I mean, it's about 3 or 4 maybe.
So you think, and then there's not a lot of groups out now either. There's
one group out, man, the Migos.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could consider Ray Sermon a group, but they're more like I would consider them like a duo, maybe like Tribe, but there ain't no Wu-Tang Clans. There ain't no...
that was a group.
That was a group.
Wu-Tang Clan.
There's no Ghetto Boys.
Mm-hmm.
There's no NWA. You know, there's not people that could come together and sing like and click and make a record up in today's era because it's, you know, it seems a little more self-driven. Like, you know, people are more about succeeding with self than doing it in a group effort. But I think that there's a void there, and if you're listening and you got people in your city, form a group, a real group, get you a DJ, get you a band, get you about 4 or 5 artists, whether they rap or sing, and form a group because it's missing and they need it direly for the game to keep going.
Okay, I did that. When you talked about the art earlier, from breaking and everything like that, first thing I thought of was like Scribble Jam.
Yeah.
Back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Yeah.
Scribble, I felt like Scribble Jam was Cincinnati's thing, you know what I'm saying, for artists. And it brought a lot of artists from all over, you know what I'm saying, just to participate.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember us, we performed in the first three or four school jams, if I ain't mistaken. And I remember the one in '97 specifically with the battle with Eminem and Juice. And we headlined that one. And I met Eminem that day for the first time. And him and Juice was battling. And at the moment when I watched it, I thought the style sounded more like it belonged to Juice. You know, Eminem lost that battle, but I think that was Juice's style, and Eminem just kind of became you never seen a white boy rap like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we've seen lyricists in the black community for a long time, but like, if there were white artists, they would pop like Vanilla Ice, or, you know, even 3 Times Dope. I mean, I said 3 Times Dope. Pete Nice and Search. Third Base.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it was a few groups like that, but nobody had ever heard a white boy spit like Eminem. And when I talked to him, he hadn't had a song done. He said he never recorded a song. He just freestyled. And I was amazed. I was like, that's fucking amazing. I was like, but you should write a pay style, because freestyles don't make money. Like, you know, you travel here to battle for 500 and you lost, you leave with nothing. And they paid us 3 bands to perform the headline. So, you know, that's your next step in your evolution. And the next time I saw him, I was at the Gavin convention, and he came out and did How My Name Is, and had toilet paper in his ass, and the media never left his side since. You know, so Scribble had KRS-One come. You know, there was a lot of legendary stuff happened there. They had graph writers, a lot of DJs came. They had DJ battles, and you know, it was the essence of what hip hop meant in the city. Back in them days, we used to have a night called One Battle Wednesdays at Ripley. You remember Ripley?
Oh yeah.
Ripley's, believe it or not, and they turned it into a Chipotle. But we used to do rap battles there, and it was called One and Battle Wednesdays. That's when we first got our following big enough to where we could actually have events.
Mm-hmm.
And what we would do, we had a group called One and Battle, which consisted of us. It was High Tech, Quali, Universal Dialect, Lack None, the Charles Cooper Quartet. It was a lot of us. So we would get together and we would throw, shows. I believe it was bi-weekly. It may have even been weekly. And we would bring in like Quali, and we would bring in Universal Dialect from Dayton, and just other acts that was real close to us. And that was how we kind of developed our following. People would come out and see us perform, and when we realized people would come out and see us perform, we knew that we could go pretty much anywhere and basically do the same thing. You know what I mean? So that started our foundation.
So like your earlier projects, before your first album, how was that working with, High Tech, dealing with Talib? Because apparently, like, you guys had already built a rapport with them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've known High Tech since he was 14. Nigga had heat at 14, believe it or not. He had bangers. It was fucking crazy. But I've known High Tech a lot longer than I've known Quali. I introduced them to each other. We brought Quali back here with us. We used to go to New York. What we would do was we would record our demo, we put it on tape, and then we would go shop our music. And then we just elevated our game from that. We realized, okay, we did our own videos, we did our own vinyl pressing, we did our own CD pressing. We had everything that there was that a label could do for you. So it would have almost been dumb for them to tell us no.
Right.
We just put ourselves.
That was a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it was like we put ourselves in a position where, like, if you say no, then you feel like you sleep on us, because really, all we needed was they pass. They never really knew how to promote us, though, because, us being from Cincinnati, most of the labels was in New York and California, and they did most of their marketing and PR from there, so everything else that kind of was a chain reaction, you know what I'm saying? Like, and once we got our record deal, and then we put our music out, it was like, damn, we hit Billboard and everything, but they still didn't know how to promote us, because it was like, at the time, Puff Daddy and when we was recording the Doom album, which was around 95, 94, we had Biggie, Puffy, Nas. It was a lot of the Chronic was out, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot of great music.
Right,
and if you weren't talented, you couldn't get in the game. But, today is more about, I think, how much you can be seen than how good you are and if you could be heard.
Now, let me ask you this though. With that being said, if you had social media like social media is available now, how do you think that would have affected the marketing and promotion? Because it seems like you was already beasting with just out there grinding that grassroots promotion.
If we had access to the game like they got access to the game now, man, I would have been like Wu-Tang or Rockefeller or some shit, man, just because our big problem was we didn't understand that back then. We kept going back and forth to New York, California, whatever, trying to get these labels to bite on our projects when we was really doing all the things that the label did. The only step that we really was missing was hiring PR. You know what I'm saying? And having the right type of publicist. But other than that, like, it was pretty much like it is today. But the difference is now there's no tangible product. Like, you feel me? I got vinyl, I got CDs, I got tape, like, shit just in the ether, in the internet now.
Yeah,
like,
the cloud.
So it's like,
It's the cloud.
you know what I mean? Like, so we could go out and sell tangible product. I could go into a record store, sell them a few pieces of vinyl. I could see fans out on the street, sell them a CD. It would have enhanced that, but I also think that bootlegging, in a way, kind of gave rap a little death for a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to where it seemed as if the numbers was dipping and rap wasn't as popular as it always had been. But, if you ever know anything about bootlegging, you never went up there and seen like a Taylor Swift CD. You didn't go see Kenny Loggins. You didn't see Duran Duran or none of the rock groups on there. It was only hip hop and R&B music that was in bootleg. So in a way, with streaming, bootleg was kind of the first form of streaming, I would say.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because although you weren't really getting no money off of it, people were still being able to hear you and get exposure.
Right, and in a way that, I mean, that definitely helped in terms of like doing shows and concerts.
Yeah.
But just that initial, money off that product.
Yeah, because if we had the internet foundation that they have now, to where you could just get online and talk to everybody at once, directly to your fans, especially like when we first came out and was at the height of what we were doing. It would have just enhanced us and gave us the opportunity to become bigger and be heard through more markets. Don't get me wrong, I've got to travel around the world, travel around the country. We had a lot of success, but if we had the internet and with our mind state back then, man, I think we could have probably changed the game.
Right. So, like, let's talk about at the height of you all's career. What was the most memorable moment, best moment for you?
I mean, there's so many. There's so much stuff that happened, man. Like, I can't even narrow it down to a moment. But I did like the fact that I got to tour, and I got to go around the world, and I got to meet people in different countries that let me know that they didn't know English, but they knew my songs.
Like which country?
For instance, the very first time I left America, we went to the UK, and then we did about 10 cities in Europe. When we went to Germany, I met a friend. Her name is Selena. Selena, if you're watching this, she was there. She was the first person that I met, that was foreign and actually loved our music. She was like, I love your music. We smoke. Me and my friends smoke. We take it to the forest and we get high and we just enjoy your music, and I'm so glad you're here, and yada, yada, yada. And it was just, it opened my eyes and made me understand that our music was reaching people on a worldwide level, which is today, like, you can't really tell because it's more like internet driven. You know what I mean? Like, people might be on your internet page and never even heard your shit. They might just be there because they came, because you made some type of loud noise, or you made some type of visual that maybe not even had much to do with music, and it's just kind of hard to tell, man. When we came out, everything was tangible. All our records was in all the record stores around the world, Target, whatever stores it was back then, you was able to go and see us in the case. Now it's like you have to go and look for artists, and it's not in the same place it is if you consider the internet, I guess, like a record store, but it's so inundated with lackluster talent that you got to search real hard to find this.
Well, let's talk about lackluster talent. You were talking about the sound now. Everything just sounds the same. It's like universal. Like what are you saying? Like, you feel like every artist is chasing the same sound, the same.
I'll say there's some exceptions to the rule, right? The exceptions to the rule are the people who people trying to sound like. You know what I'm saying? Like, for that, I would say, like, think of the Migos, right? Like, although they're the only group, it's a lot of people when they rap, they sound like the Migos. If they don't sound like the Migos, they're probably trying to sound like Drake. If they don't sound like Drake, they may be trying to sound like Kendrick. But all of those sounds in themselves, J. Cole, they're all unique. And then it seemed like everybody else that's up under those artists kind of falls somewhere within those artists, and it's not really a defining sound, especially on the radio. Like, the radio is all pretty much party and bullshit all the time. You know what I mean? You don't hear really no conscious stuff on the radio hardly. You could see like Welcome to America, like, for instance, right? That was a great video. That song was kind of the opposite of what I'm saying, right? Like, where the visual gave you the conscious message as opposed to the actual song, which I thought was very creative. But I just don't hear a lot of substance a lot. Things that make you think. People talking about things you may not have learned about, but should know or want to learn. I just hear mostly a lot of partying bullshit, man. And, it all kind of sounded like maybe it's the producer stuff.
Well, I know there are a couple of artists that I like, but you know, anytime a new artist comes out, a lot of times they're instantly compared or associated to another artist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the Toby guy, you know what I'm saying, out of Texas, they try to label him like the next Andre 3000. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. But
they called Extension the new Tupac.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to create that original sound when you're automatically associated with someone who is established. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, but that would be like you know, when we came out, people would be like, y'all gonna be the next Wu-Tang. And I was like, we're gonna be the first move. And, and the first one to battle, like, don't get me wrong, I respect what they do. Them niggas is nice and everything, but I've always felt like creativity and originality is really kind of what drive the business. Like, you know, like when you creative and you do something that's not being done, it sets a lane for you and it gives you an avenue for where you can do you and be you honorably.
Right.
And you don't have to chase out of what, you know, trying to chase a dollar, do what everybody else is doing in their videos, make their song, your song sound like their songs. If you thrive to be that and that's what you want to be, there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like, we all got a little bit of somebody that inspired us to be somebody. But I remember when I met Rakim, I did a show with Rakim in Denver, you know, and I gave him praise and told him, like, yeah, man, when I was young, I used to want to rap and be like you, man. He was like, that's what I was like. But he was like, but the real thing is for you to be like you. I'm glad I inspired you, but take what I inspired you to do and do you. You don't want to be me or you don't want to sound like me. That's, you know, it's too much of a burden to try to, you can't be the next Tupac, nigga. Like, Extension was a good artist. I didn't hear a lot of his music, but I explained to the young boys, like, Tupac was somebody that nobody on earth could make that statement about when he died. You understand? Yeah. There was maybe if you lived like in the woods of Tibet, some motherfucker where, you know what I mean, you didn't know who Tupac was, like, but I understood them, you know, the comparison with him as him being young, him being somebody of their generation, and I'm like, you know, but Tupac got 400 songs. Tupac got movies. Tupac got poetry. Like, it's unfair of y'all to compare that young man to Tupac, putting that burden on his shoulders. That's why it's best to be you and be the best you can be as opposed to trying to live up to, like LeBron James said. He regrets naming his son LeBron James Jr. He'll never be able to live up to his father's name. If he does, like, he's a fucking incredible individual. You feel me? Like, so his father set the bar really high, and the people who come out before you set the bar high, everybody's standing on the shoulders of giants. We did it. They doing it now today.
No, I understand. I'm the third. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually the fifth generation with my name. So, like, I understand that. But when you talk about Rakim inspired you, you know what I'm saying? Like, outside of that, when you were making your music as a group or individually, like, what inspires you? Like, what inspired you then and what inspires you now?
My biggest musical influence when I'm a rapper was Bob Marley.
Okay.
What happened with me with Bob Marley is I knew of Bob Marley when I was young. Like, you know, when I was about 10, 11 years old, I knew of him. There was a few songs I used to hear. But when I got older and I got to hear his music, I was like, damn. I didn't hear the radio shit that I knew. Like, it wasn't all the shit, the commercial music. I got to dig into his catalog. I was like, this motherfucker is the greatest motherfucker ever walked the earth. And one of them, he has to be, because how the fuck is he still going platinum and he been there for 40 years? You understand? So I dug into that and I listened to his music, and the inspiration that I got from him was his music wasn't all party and bullshit. There was things about that was going on, social, economical issues, political shit, you know, things going on personally with him and his life. He showed me what actual greatness was, and I understood that people loved him because he was willing to dig inside of his soul and go deeper than the surface, trying to chase money and put something behind his music, and that's why it's still around to this day. Like, I would rather leave that legacy than the legacy of niggas just partied in my shit for a few years, man, and then ain't nobody never heard it again. I will hope that 30 years from now, even if it's only 100 motherfuckers, that I still got some Donte fans and some Moon fans. You feel me?
Right.
Because of that, like that, I gave you something that you can use to apply to yourself and to your life, that either make you a better person or make inspire you to do something. You know what I'm saying? That's what's good, man.
Talking like the white guy, shallow demeanor. Karma was the main schemer. What could be greener? And all I thought about was beamers. They came to questionnaire. Rest of me was stepping rare, asking permission so he could say he kept it fair. Fake mustaches and 100-yard dashes through Lake Molasses because my government's so fascist. Don't choose to ask kids, though low spots up near Damascus. On all areas, harassless. The one that knew enough to front a crew. That night I got you. Went to sleep, woke up with guns drew. No time for crying cowards. Too late for firepower. Karma convinced me to meet him at his dying hour. Now leading back to that night, reality strikes. The unknown faces are the casualty types. Now leading back to that night, reality strikes. The unknown faces are the casualty types.
Now you watch your nigga rise in disguise. You despise cause I built an enterprise while you still living lies. And I'm all you wanna be, but that's all you gonna be. Get your own path and your ass from in front of me. Nigga thought you had my back and you was stealing out my pack when other niggas tried to tell me I wasn't even feeling that. That's my ace. That nigga got keys to my place and he know about the cash. That's G's in the safe. Wait, no time.